Getting older can sometimes suck, and getting older in the age of social media definitely sucks. If you're tired of people telling you to age gracefully, then you're in the right place. This is all about living your best life at any age. First rule, don't call me ma'am. Hey everyone, I'm Jodi Miller, and this is Don't Call Me Ma'am. Don't call me ma'am. And do not call my next guest ma'am either, because she is far from a ma'am.
Yeah, definitely. You can't call me ma'am.
You cannot call her ma'am.
No, there will be a homicide. Literally. I don't do ma'am.
Today, we don't do ma'am. Neither of us do ma'am.
Do you always correct the person when they call you ma'am? Do you ever say anything?
I don't, because I'm picking my old vagina off the floor. so that's why I'm too busy saying, excuse me. My next guest is like one of my longest friends in Los Angeles, one of my closest friends. She is a head writer on the show Funny You Should Ask. So we've worked on that show for like 7-8 years since the very beginning. She is a comedian, a writer, a producer, a director, and now a business owner. We're gonna get into that. And just a fucking awesome human being. Start clapping right now for Shawn Pelofsky.
Oh.
Yay!
I love you, JM. I think I paid you well to say all that, so I appreciate
so
it.
well. Really quick, this is the first time I actually met Shawn Pelofsky was at Luna Park, the one in West Hollywood, Luna Park, off of Robertson, I believe. I think it was Robertson.
Yeah.
Anyway, it was a Vargas.
In Gayville.
Yes.
WeHo.
It was a Vegas. It was a Vargas Mason show.
What?
Downstairs. You remember downstairs? There's an upstairs.
I remember downstairs, but I don't remember this.
It was
Jodi.
definitely okay. Yeah, you had plaid pants on.
I have early dementia.
I will never
apparently.
forget, because at the time I thought, wow, I'm a high energy animated comic, and then Shawn Pelofsky got on that stage, destroyed the room, and did this bit about the Cheesecake Factory, and then you turned around and bent over on your ass, which is perfectly tight, and you said, why don't you just fuck me in the ass, or something like that.
Yeah.
And I think I had just been to the Cheesecake Factory, because I'd only been out here maybe like a year, and I think I spit out my Jack Daniels, which we both enjoy Jack Daniels.
Yes.
So for that,
cheers
for
to Jack
anyone
Daniels.
to get me to spit out that drink, you
Yes.
have to be fucking funny. So I saw your ass front and center.
Well, that usually brings them all in. I mean, not into my ass, but it's big enough to get sucked in. But
is nice.
yes, it is. Yes, it is. But yeah, I remember that bit. I used to do it about Jerry's Deli because everything was so expensive there. And I remember that bit, and I would change it to different places.
Yes.
But yeah, it started with Jerry's Deli, and it was something to like, I don't know, the rhyme of like, $25 for a corned beef sandwich. And then I'd turn around and bend over and go, give it to me.
Yes.
I'm so ready.
Oh my God.
So yeah,
Like
that
so many
was,
memories.
yeah. Wow.
Bob Saget showed up in one of those shows too, and I'll never forget. It's the first
Was
time
that same night? Because I remember bringing up Bob Saget that
I
night.
could have been the same night. All I remember is that was the first time I ever saw him live, and so fucking funny.
Do you remember?
So raunchy.
Do you remember his first line that night? Because I brought him
Something
up.
about, didn't you want to fuck the Olsen twins?
Yes. Yes. He goes, his first line is like Bob Saget. You're like, oh, America's favorite
yes.
dad. And then he comes up there and he goes, the Olsen twins, I fucked them. And I was like, holy shit. We all like fell out.
We all did. That was amazing. Those were amazing times.
I loved Luna Park.
Oh
Luna Park was like kind of this basement underground to this nice
stage.
kind of restaurant with the ambiance in the middle of
really
WeHo. It was kind of catty corner from the Abbey.
Yes, it was.
And then it became like a parking lot.
It is something.
And then it became a club. I don't even know what it is now.
It was definitely a club, because I remember when I was older, somebody tried to get me to go there. I was like, I don't do that anymore. But yeah, it just was, I don't know, what a great time in comedy. And I think I got to, it's the first time I really got to like know you, but then, I was getting to know all of the people that later became my really close comedy friends and just friends in general. And we maintained that relationship for so many years.
I mean, like, how many years do you think that is?
It's over 20.
I can't remember what I did 2 minutes ago, more or less the story of, when people are like, don't you remember when we met? And I'm like, Yes.
I mean,
I draw a blank on everything
I don't
now.
remember. That probably wasn't the very first night we met, but that set in particular stood out to me. Now, we could have been there performing, multiple times, and they all just blend together. You know what I mean? But it made a lasting impression. And I think it was more just the time. What a great time to be in comedy coming out here. You know what I mean? I was, showcasing for Mitzi. You were showcasing. We were all just sort of like working our way up the ladder, basically.
Totally. And I remember like watching you and seeing the cat bits, when you would do like the physical thing with your cat.
Oh, I used to do a bit where I'd fall down. See, that was the thing. I thought I was so animated until I saw you. I used to do the thing about like,
what do you mean?
It'd be so great if we were a cat and, you could just lay anywhere you want. And then I would just fall on stage and just like roll on stage. Like I rolled on stage.
Yes.
If I fell on stage now, I would not be getting up. I'd be like, and this is where I do my set.
Yeah. No, I've always appreciated your comedy. And I think like to the point where like people, and I don't know if it's just because we're both Jewish or what it is, but I get confused. People talk to me all the time and they've had full conversations with me and they're like, well, Jodi.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh,
I know, yeah.
I'm Shawn. Oh, yeah. That's what no, you're not Jodi.
Yeah, between you and
Shema.
No, nobody confuses me with Shema. I see people probably confusing you and Shema. But for me, it's Eleanor Kerrigan. So much so that it's so much. I should have Eleanor on here. People would think it was the exact same person. She once sent me, once I was at Funny You Should Ask, she sent me a flyer. She was performing in like Texas or something, headlining, and they pulled a pic from the web, but it was my pick. And they were like, headliner, Eleanor Kerrigan, and she sent it to me. It is so,
Suddenly you have 19 brothers in Philly.
honestly.
And you're Catholic.
Seriously, she would get off stage and people would be like, oh my God, Jersey. She's like, wrong state.
Oh my God,
yeah.
that's so funny. It's probably just like maybe the parting of the hair.
We used to look a lot.
And you both are tall and you're skinny.
We had the same hair. We both like went red at the same time. You and I both went red at the same time. It was a lot of that, incestuous type of thing that I can see. And Shema too, yes.
I get you, I get Shema, and then I get Sharon Houston, who also is queen of the gays. So, and I think it's because maybe like we're short and we have similar voices, and so yeah, those are the three. So,
okay, well I'm so happy you're here because you're starting this amazing business, and I feel like when you've been doing comedy a long time.
For 72 years.
72 years. You either branch out, you do obviously what we're doing, which is working on a TV show, but you either start a new business or you become a real estate agent. So it's like waitress,
an Uber driver.
Yeah, exactly. Waitress, comedian, real estate agent. That's usually the path that people take. But you're starting a completely different business, and it's obviously based on your own personal experience. But it's not that we're not going to be performing comedy, or not that I'm going to be. I'll definitely be performing comedy for a long time, I'm assuming.
Like till you're Joan Rivers' age?
Probably, but maybe not. There's a point where I'm like, sometimes I think, I don't know, do you ever think this? You're just on the road more, and I know I've got my daughter who's like, pulls that life right out of me.
No, I think you should give her to me.
Well, you ask all the time.
I know.
But I'm
my eggs are dead, so it's not going to happen. But I do love her. I do love little baby Mac, who's not even a baby.
She's
like, she's almost driving. She's like a full-grown woman.
She's a full-grown woman. She acts like a full-grown woman. But here's the thing. It's like, I think about it, because I perform so much less now because of her. And, back, I don't know, 5 years, even before she was born or way before then, the thought of not performing as, 6 nights a week, 5 nights a week was like, I couldn't even compute. It's all I wanted to do. And now I'm at a place where I'm like, I don't know. Do I need to perform all the time? Can I take time off? Like, what is my 15 minutes here or there? I still love doing it when I'm on stage. I love it, and I love working out new stuff. But we're at a different stage in life, you know what I mean? Where, what am I trying to achieve? I always ask myself that question.
Well, I think everything, Jodi. I honestly... I don't know how you do it all. You work so hard. You wear so many hats, and on top of that, being a single mother, which I had thought about in an earlier age of like, oh, well, if I'm not married, I'll just adopt and do this.
Yeah.
And then I nannied my sister's her first 2 kids. And I learned really fast. I was like, oh, fuck, I'm not going to do that on my own. What am I, a masochist? And I realized how hard of work it is. And I always thought, well, if I'm going to do that, I'm going to need help.
Right.
And I'm just so impressed that not only do you do that, but it's like, you we're a head writer, you executive produce, you perform, you do this, you run, hysterical, you run
Hysterical, you got
is it historical?
That's historical.
Oh, that's historical.
Yes, it's spelt hysterical.
Okay, thank you. That's please. I mean, I was about to call it stand up when. So, it's like I don't even know where. I honestly will sometimes think like, I don't even know how you do it. I think you're a vampire. I don't think you sleep.
You are the same.
I think you have a doppelganger. I'm convinced. So inquiring minds want to know.
You do the exact same thing, just minus the child. You do the
I did have an ex-husband, so there was that. That's the child.
Which we're about to get into. But you're cut from the same cloth. And I believe that because we are entrepreneurs and we are our own business. You know what I mean? Like,
well, we're Jews. We control everything.
We control everything, obviously. But I mean, like, we both thrive on being really busy.
Yeah.
We both thrive on that good type of stress. Mm-hmm. That's what keeps us going. When we don't have purpose, when we don't feel our identity is being represented, we create new opportunities.
Yeah.
Obviously, social media meltdowns. You've got, you know what I mean? You're on the road constantly. You're touring. You come right back off. You get off that plane. You get right up on stage here. Like, you have the same type of energy. If I threw a kid in the mix, you'd figure it out. We figure it out.
No, I think I'd be in a fetal position. Actually, I'm just like that. Like on top of everything, I have the utmost respect for you, and I was incredibly excited for you to enter motherhood. And I remember that day when you called me and you were like, I
have a baby.
I have a baby, and I was like, immaculate conception, and you're like, no, and it was just it's awesome. It's impressive.
At Target. They're selling them at Target. They're in the $5 bin.
Right. That and my hairspray. I'm going to pick up too.
Okay, so let's talk about the marriage. Because it ended at my daughter's second birthday party. So if anybody wants to come to my daughter's next birthday party, no, I'll never forget that day because it was you guys were outside, you showed up, and I was a big fan of your husband at the time. I mean, we had known him a while. We actually we were at your place for New Year's Eve. That New Year's Eve, you had people over. I was at the Comedy Store. He came there. It was raining. I'll never forget.
Yeah.
Then we got there. Lovely. All really great.
Yeah.
And then you guys come to the birthday party. Mm-hmm. And then...
Lovely birthday party.
And then what happened when you left?
So there's a little bit backstory with that. We were married for almost 9 years, and I had met him through a lovely, fabulous gay friend of mine who had brought all his coworkers to his show. Right. And my friend had told me he was bringing all these coworkers, and he was like, oh, one's Israeli, one's Russian, one's Brazilian. And I was like, did you just say Brazilian? Because, that was my Achilles heel, or Latino men. So they had come to the Comedy Store, and, things happened from there. I'd met him, I picked on him from stage, and then it was kind of like this whirlwind romance, and not like kind of in the 90-day fiance where we had to hurry and get a K-1 visa, but it was, when you've been through 1,000 men, when the right one is in front of you, and that's what I used to tell him. He didn't like that joke at all. Well, it kind of wasn't a joke, but...
I was going to say, I've been through 1,000 men, and
it kind of wasn't a joke.
I've yet to find the one that's right for me, but
Don't worry, I've been tested. So it's just a little bit of chlamydia, so it doesn't matter. But so, long story, short, we fell in love. We got married within 7 months.
It was quick.
Mm-hmm. And and then he had a job. He'd already had a job in the States, but then, he had to leave to go back to Brazil. And then when he came back in, he we got married instead of him waiting for his work visa for his new job. And so it just, everything worked. It seemed right. He was kind of a calm, very quiet guy. We called him Marcel Marceau, the Brazilian, almost mute. And I guess I thrived in the silence. And so we just seemed to work well together. He was very supportive of what I did. And he had a kind heart and was always really the jealous one, not me. I was, Latino, especially Brazilians, they tend to be jealous people. And I never was like that. So, he had good friends in Brazil and his family was there, but he made a few friends you'd probably catch at Comic-Con, some guys. And, that was his life. And he'd go out and do his thing. And, and I just started to see, we were solid in the pandemic. And there were times where I saw him before the pandemic battle some demons, battle some depression, and kind of act out a little bit. And I was like, you better get that shit together because I will not be around for this, And that was probably about maybe about 6 years in.
Okay.
And so, he got the right help and therapy and work and medicine and everything he needed to do. And we just were moving along. And I started to see probably about 3 months before that day. And it was Christmas. And we were in Nashville at my brother's and sister-in-law's house. And I saw him texting a lot. And he was sitting right next to me. And we were playing like Connect Four with my little nephew, who my nephew loved him. And he loved my nephew. He loved children. And so I just was like, who are you texting? Like, I never saw him so busy texting his life. And he's like, oh, just a friend, just wishing me Merry, she's just wishing me Merry Christmas. And I heard the she, and I was kind of like, okay.
Right.
And then when I saw him, immediately he tapped out of what he was texting in. And usually it's regular text or.
When you see a different texting app, like WhatsApp or anything else, it's like...
Well, WhatsApp he used all the time because Brazilians.
Right, okay.
And all his friends were in WhatsApp
This was something completely different.
It was Telegram. And
Telegram, people.
Remember that.
This episode is not sponsored by Telegram.
It is not sponsored by Telegram. Telegram, I have a message for you. So Telegram, which I didn't know at the time, I had it on my phone. And I only had it on my phone because of during the lockdown and the pandemic.
Because the guy you were fucking.
Yes.
Yes.
The multiple. That's hilarious. God. But I had it on my phone because of the app Clubhouse.
Yeah.
And
remember Clubhouse, guys?
Yeah.
Where did that go?
Yeah. And you couldn't communicate on that app. So when you would do a show, some producers would be like, because they had 1,000 comics they were putting on or whatnot, they would say, hey, put on this app, Telegram, and I can communicate with as many people. And that's the thing, that was the beauty about Telegram. Apparently, it holds like an insurmountable amount of people on it compared to...
Because everyone loves a group text.
Right.
A 700 person group text.
I think that's actually what they used for the insurrection, actually, to organize the January 6th. Don't quote me on that, but...
Sorry, Telegram.
Mm-hmm. So I had my own insurrection with Telegram. And so I saw him, and I remember asking him in Brazil a couple months before that, I saw someone texting on Telegram at a restaurant in Brazil. And I remember asking him, do you ever use Telegram? And he goes, no, I don't like that app. So when I saw him using that, I was like, that's weird, Telegram. So that whole day he was texting, no matter. We're at a dinner with my family. He's texting. And every time I was like, he's texting as he's walking. He's so busy. And, like I said, he's a mime. So I'm so like, what's going on? And so...
and there's no alarm bells that went off.
Well, that night, I just saw it so much when he went to bed. That night, I had that, as soon as I saw it, I was like, that's kind of weird. So I went into his phone while he's sleeping, and I went into the closet, and then I came out. So, so I looked at his phone, and I went into Telegram, and...
It wasn't locked?
It wasn't, no. He didn't, I know his code. He knew mine. I mean, he was in tech, so he knew everything of my stuff. And I saw, when you go into Telegram, it's kind of like WhatsApp. There's just this tiny little circle.
Right.
The person's name and a number. And I see this woman's full name, and I see the number, and the number is a Jersey number.
Jersey.
And I know that because my cousins live in New Jersey. Shout out to East Brunswick.
Yeah.
Jersey girl. And I go, huh. And it was this, I go to the conversation, and it's this non-conversation. It's cut off. It's kind of mid conversation. And it was something like, Merry Christmas, Merry Christmas. And I was like, okay. And so then I go, well, I need to see if I can find, I looked up this name on Facebook thinking that it will tell me more about this person. And I found the same picture and the girl. And I looked her up and saw she was married with 3 kids and lived in North Carolina. And I thought to myself, I was like, oh. And well, and she wasn't attractive. So definitely he wasn't fucking her. And I thought, oh God, oh no.
Right.
He would never do this. And the thing was, we always discussed, we always had this discussion of like, I never cheat on me. And I was like, yeah, I'm loyal.
And I mean, that's because you're the one that travels so much. You're the one that's like, you know what I mean? Like on stage.
Yeah.
And you're surrounded and you're more outgoing. Like, yeah, I'm not saying, looking at you guys from, the outside, I could see where people would be like, well, she's the one on the road. She's the one surrounded by people that are constantly, you know what I mean? Like, you're partying with people, you're on cruises.
Bunch of homosexuals surround me.
A lot of homosexuals, but there's always one in the mix. That's
what else would surround me with this face, huh?
They're like, Barbara Streisand did comedy.
She's here.
So, I mean, but I could still see, like, I would never, when you told me this, I was like, what? It was so, I couldn't even.
It was very strange. And he'd always, I had this joke that he used to say, because we were watching this reality show once. And I'm like, what would you do if you ever, like, caught me with someone else? And he's like, well, first, I would kill him. And then I would kill you. And then simple, I would move back to Brazil. I'm like, oh, there's no such thing as extraditing? Thanks, OJ. So I would never do that because, infidelity was what happened with my parents' divorce. Right. And that really, and I was older when my parents got divorced after 30 years of marriage. Right. And so that really took its toll on me. And I would never do that to somebody. It's just not what I do. I would be honest with you before I ever do that. And we had that agreement. Same thing happened with his family. Right. His parents were still married. He tried to not tell me that ever happened with his parents, but when we had our second wedding in Brazil that year, because we got married 3 times in 1 year, that's how in love we were. That's the love story. I didn't know that his father was fucking around on his mom until, I saw the day we were leaving after our wedding for our honeymoon in Brazil. And I didn't speak full Portuguese, but I see his mom crying, and he's going back, and he like leaves me in the living room. He's like, I got to go talk to my dad now. And I had figured that out. I, was like, something's going on, and I heard key words. Yeah. And over time, that shit continued, and Hoffy would tell his mom, like, kick him out of the house, and blah 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 blah. But he was very, whatever. He seemed like he was really mad about it and that it was something he would never do. Well, cut to, time goes by. He's traveling now from city to city for work. And I just started to see him act out. And he was 12 years younger than me. And I think he was about to hit a midlife crisis. And, I waited a long time to get married. Yeah. I didn't think that was actually going to happen. So when it did present itself, I was just as shocked as anybody else was. And so, so with time, sometimes he'd be holding me on the couch in those next couple of months, and he'd be texting behind me as he's holding me. And I'd turn around and be like, what are you texting? Oh, I'm just texting, my friend for tickets for a concert. So again, when he'd go to sleep, I'm like, second time. This is the second time I went into his phone. I went into regular text. I went into Instagram. Couldn't find a smoking gun. So cut to one weekend, and it's the weekend. It's the Friday before
The party.
the party. He kind of comes home from a trip, starts gaslighting me. Oh, you're 12 years older than me, and we were supposed to have a date night, and he's like, I just want to go out with my friends, and I'm going through things, and I'm like, what's going on? Do you not want to be married to me? And he's like, no. And I'm like, do we need to go to therapy? What's going on? He's like, no, it's just me, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay, because, just tell me. You said you'd always be honest with me.
Right.
If something was going on. And I really believed, he would. And so that night, or that day, or I'm sorry, the next day, we go to the party, and things were, seemed fine, and I later that evening, this is how I knew. So he was trying to be intimate, which is usually something I would initiate because, I'm a gay man trapped in this body. And, I was like Benny Hill. I was always chasing, and he, things weren't working. And I'd never seen that happen. And then the light bulb went on.
Right.
Then I remember the feeling sitting in the bed, and he got up and he had gone to the bathroom, and I just remember sitting there going, something's going on, something's happening. Right. And it was kind of this sick feeling.
Yeah.
And then, he came back out, and I thought he could probably read my face. And then he sat down in the bed, and he's like, oh, was that good? Was it good? I was like, no, dude, you went limp. No, it's not good. And he, later that evening, we watched a little TV. He went to bed, and I waited about 45 minutes. And then I went to his phone. And I had my phone with me for some reason in my hand, went into the bathroom. And then I hit Telegram. And then a little, sands of time, little hourglass.
Yeah.
Popped up. When your computer's thinking. Yeah. And
was Telegram thinking should we tell her now?
Yeah.
Should we let her know?
Yeah.
Should we let her know?
We let her know. And the little spinning hourglass was moving in the middle, and then from the bottom of the screen something popped up, and it said 15 more minutes. Would you like 15 more minutes? And I remember looking at that, and I was like, 15 more minutes? And I said yes. And then boom, the whole conversation popped up. So it was on a timer, and it would have timed out probably in an hour. And I probably was catching this conversation before it.
Shit, I didn't even know that's how it worked. Mm-hmm. And what did the conversation say?
So when it popped up, I see that same person's name.
Yeah.
But they're so stupid. She's so dumb. She just changed her handle she changed her picture to a sunset. But why I realized it was her is because I saw the Jersey number.
Right, yeah.
And then she changed her name to It's Blah Blah instead of her full name. So I'm like, and then I said, God, what was that? What was that person? I thought I'd taken pictures
right.
of that Facebook
right.
profile when I saw it. And I was like, what was her name? What was this? Oh my God. And I couldn't find it. But then I started to read the text. And by page 2, I see, do you think they see the bruise on my leg? Do you think everyone noticed? And then it had love emojis and then she said, you can't say that to me, silly. I'm your boss. And then boom, the light finally went on, and I was like, oh my God, he's fucking his boss. And they were meeting in hotel rooms the day before, wherever city to city they were meeting for clients and having crazy relations. And I got to read a lot of those, and probably it was like hundreds of pages. It seemed like it'd been going on since December,
Right.
but I think the emotional affair was happening when they went to some. I don't know where it's like they have like a build up for their team,
like a retreat.
They all had a retreat for their company in a house in Myrtle Beach. Ew.
Sorry, Myrtle Beach.
Yeah.
Our show's not sponsored by Myrtle Beach
not sponsored by that or Telegram. And so it was in this house, and I remember going, 20 employees are in a house? Like, isn't that a violation of HR? Can't people get together? And, I just was joking about that, not knowing that it would be him.
So what you did next, I think, is incredibly strong and impressive. And I think you were just so resolved in the fact that you were like, get the fuck out. Where I know so many women, and this is not a criticism on any other women, but I was so impressed by just the way you just handled that, like, get out. You just threw him right out.
Yeah.
You woke him up, didn't you?
I woke him up, honey. I practically gave that guy a coronary. But, I don't, you don't know.
Right.
You don't know how you're going to react in a situation. You always think you know until you really are faced with, that adversity, and you're faced with that situation. And I just knew, I think the divorce between my parents really, I feel like that killed my mother. And I was never going to be taken for a fool, and I was never going to let anybody destroy everything I am and my morals or my values and everything that I have worked hard. And all I did was love him, support him. He got citizenship because of me. And I don't think, and people say, oh, do you think he was here for a green card? No. There was love there.
Lots of love.
I honestly don't think so. And he could have bailed after when he got that green card, or when he could.
He loved you.
You only have to wait till 3 years and prove after you get your green that, you could get divorced. And so, I called a friend who's no longer my friend. And I called her and I said, I told her what was going on, and she goes, okay, I need you to kick him out before I kill him. I'm coming over. And I went into the room. I kicked open the door. I was like a mad woman. I don't like conflict. I don't yell.
Right.
I don't like fighting. We maybe had 2 or 3 fights in our entire marriage. And I came in like a hurricane. It was Hurricane Shawn that night. And I kicked open the door and I was like, get the fuck up. And he was like, he sat up. He's like, what's wrong? What's wrong? Are you okay, baby? And I'm like, no, I'm not okay. I mean, I'm surprised no police were called. That's about how much nobody gives a shit in LA. Nobody gives a fuck about you. And I'm like, get up. And, and he's like, and I'm like, you are having an affair. You're fucking a woman with 3 kids. Who's your boss? And, I had his phone in my hand, and he goes, you went through my phone? And I go, that is going to be the least of your problems. And he realized, and he's like, oh, baby. And he started to fake cry, and he comes running towards me, and he's like, I'm so sorry, you don't deserve this. And and then I just said, my father did this to my mother, your dad did this to your mother, and you're doing this to me, you're your father. I said, pack your bags, we're done. You don't get to know me, you don't get to write me, you don't get to call me, it's over. And he's like, that's it, almost 9 years, you're not gonna go. Get out. And he just lowered his head, and he started packing one big suitcase, which we call the heart of the ocean, because it was my bag, one of my bags. and just held his head low. And I think I was like on the floor screaming. I've never been so hysterical in my life.
It was really, I mean, I
was shocked.
Yeah.
I was hyperventilating in the bathroom, and then some kind of sense came to me. This was before I woke him up. I got the sense to start taking pictures on my phone of I got about 48 screenshots. I didn't even know what they said. I just started taking pictures of his phone and the conversations beforehand. So I was smart enough to at least put 2 and 2 together. And I kicked his ass out. Friends came over. Next day, they packed his stuff into trash bags, which I always love to see. Shout out to Brittany Cartwright, who did that with her friends, with Jax Taylor on the Valley. Seems to be the go-to is throw their shit in trash bags. Pulled all his pictures off the next day. Thank God I had such a support group. People like Jodi, people I worked with, friends, gays. Gays were bringing me liquor and flowers.
That's what they do.
Mm-hmm, the lesbians brought me rocket launchers. It all worked out. And I think through the support is just really how I got through it. And he was scared shitless. He was trying to text. I wasn't answering. And then I knew within, a couple of days, I wanted to let her husband know what was going on, because I don't want anyone to be in the dark. I would never want to be in the dark. And, all women are spies. My friends found all his information, and I tried on social media to get a hold of him. And then he seemed like he was an accountant, seemed like a logical guy. So I got a hold of him on all places, LinkedIn. Mm-hmm. And I, very tried to delicately say, your wife's a whore. But I couldn't, it was I told him, I said, I'm really sorry to tell you this, I'm very shocked. And he got back to me, and I said, look, he's like, I'm shaking. I can't believe this. You say you have screenshots. Could you send them to me? And I said, yeah, I can. I'm really sorry about this. I know you have children, and I apologize, but I would want to know. And I, with one fell swoop, sent those texts, and he's like, thank you. I'm in shock, and thank you, and I wish you well. And I said, you too. And then I started just getting texts of, when I kicked him out that night, I text her, and I just said, I hope you're happy. You ruined a marriage. And I said, I feel sorry for your husband. And then I wrote ... and your kids, meaning I'm coming for you.
Right.
Because you're not going to. I'm a Leo, and I'll give you everything. I'll give you my bone marrow if it's a match and I meet you once. But the minute you pull this shit, pink slip.
Okay,
and,
so cut to though. So that was how many years ago? It was like 4?
No, it feels like 4.
Oh.
It will be, God. That was in 2023. What do we?
Well,
It's going to be almost 2 years.
Oh my God.
2 years divorce.
So in those 2 years though, after that, you took all of that. I mean,
I secured an attorney within 5 days.
You did all that. I mean, you were just like lightning fast.
Yeah.
You did that.
Yeah, I lit him up. He gaslit me. She gaslit me. They blamed me for ruining her life, her family. They were a good narcissistic team, but I never answered them. I never answered anyone. I say I'm the Liam Neeson of silence. I'm savage that way. And I had to figure out how to serve him. I figured out how to meet him at the Grove.
I remember that.
And served him, which was like just crazy. And we were divorced within 6 months.
So 6 months, and then you had a massive divorce parade.
Yeah. It was pretty crazy. Most people have divorce parties, and I wanted to have some type of celebration.
Yes.
And I remember being in New Orleans. Maybe the year before that, my oldest niece got married there, and my sister lives there, and my brother-in-law, and it was this big wedding with 300 people.
Right.
And there's this big tradition in New Orleans. It's called a second line. And it started with funerals. And it's basically a brass band. It's like a celebration. And so now they do them for weddings in the French Quarter. And they do it, I think, for bachelorette parties.
Right.
Like they pretty much do it for a lot of things.
Right.
And
But
so
they hadn't up until yours though done it for divorce.
no, I didn't know that though. But at the time when, they had the second line, there's police escorts, there's permits. So, we had all of Canal Street. Then they came into the wedding reception. The bride and groom hold this, traditional umbrella. They're in the front. She's in her dress. He's in his tux. Then there's the brass band playing their music. And then there's 300 people.
Oh my God.
That are marching with the party, and you have these traditional handkerchiefs, and they're monogrammed for the bride and groom, and it's like a 30-minute parade, and it's your own parade down the streets of New Orleans, and people are cheering you on. They're joining the parade, and my ex-husband had gone to bed early that night. And my cousin and I were marching, and we're like, oh my God, this is the best thing. And I'm like, I want to have one of these days. I want to have one of these. And then I thought, oh my God, I'm going to do it for my 10-year wedding anniversary.
Right.
So I can invite all my friends. It'll be big, huge blowout. Well, cut to, I did it for my divorce.
Yeah, but how amazing was that though? And unfortunately I couldn't be there. We were shooting. But you were there.
I was playing hooky.
You were playing hooky, but I mean, how many people did you have for your divorce party?
About 40 people descended into New Orleans from everywhere.
From everywhere. And then all these people just joined in, didn't they?
Yeah.
I mean, if I saw a divorce parade going down Canal Street, that's fucking amazing.
It was pretty crazy because it took me I planned it probably for about 5 months. I had T-shirts that said Shawn's Divorce Parade on it. I had, I made sign. My gay friend held this big, huge sign. Then we put it on a pole and it said, fuck around and find out.
So great.
My white handkerchiefs had a ball and chain on it and it said, bye-bye. And my sister Heather, I remember her telling me when she went to go pick those up for me at the company, she said they were all laughing. She's like,
it's so great.
They had never seen anything like this. And I told them what you were doing. And so, I didn't know that people hadn't done this for a divorce. And so when I was talking to the brass band, and we all were 3 sheets to the wind because we had been doing shots for, and then my parade was like 1:00 in the afternoon on a Saturday. Why wouldn't we be loaded? It's New Orleans. And I said, you must be doing them all the time for divorces. And they're like, and this was like the most popular band. They're like, we've never seen one for a divorce. And then I started looking online and I saw every occasion that they do second lines for, but I didn't see divorce.
And now your company is launched right now. This podcast comes out and it is called
Divorce Parade, because it's hard. You can't say divorce second line. I don't think people understand what that is. But
Divorce Parade is very obvious what it is. And anybody watching or listening, if you're going through a divorce or someone is going through a divorce, what a great way to celebrate the next chapter of your life.
It is. I say it's not just turning lemons into lemonade. It's turning lemons into vodka. And it is. It's just, I have to say, it was probably, I had 3 really fun weddings, but it's better than your wedding. And it was probably the best day of my life. I can't explain it. And it even rained on my parade. How Streisand of that. But it really was the game changer for me. I just felt like a new person, and to be celebrated like that. And I just felt like my life was beginning again. And somehow with the rain, it kind of felt like I was cleansed. And there's such a stigma with divorce. And I really feel like not only was it fun, it was funny. That whole day through the French Quarter, people were stopping me and they're just like, fuck him. And it was just, people were here to celebrate. And that's what I want to do for other men and women, and we all go through it. And I want to celebrate people and with a sense of humor.
Yes.
And I offer, whatever you want to do, whatever you want to put on those signs.
And by the way, I happen to know, and I think this is happening more and more because people are finally, getting to a place where it's not as dramatic as someone cheating on you. It can be like, when my parents got divorced, there was no anger and animosity. And I know a couple other couples that, separated, still co-parent, but they are much happier being divorced. Wouldn't it be great to do the couple divorcing together in the divorce parade, the husband and wife, and now they're just, you could do it without, it doesn't have to be cheating or anger. It could be like you guys could do it together, just the uncoupling.
Yes, I agree with that. And someone already kind of talked to me about that, which is interesting because, I think it's probably going to start with divorces. And I figured if gender reveals can be a trend, my God, why can't
Exactly.
we have a divorce
You're not going to
parade?
blow anything up. You're not going to light fire.
People have divorce moons before there's couples that amicably get divorced.
Yes, absolutely.
And they go on their last hurrah before they get divorced.
Yeah.
So I do believe that there will be couples.
Of course.
I'm sure there'll be more of the but I'm willing for anybody who has faced divorce, and it doesn't have to be something you just went through.
Yes. But it's you're starting your new chapter, your second chapter or third chapter or fourth chapter, whatever. This is your new life, and it is a cleansing. It is. Why are we celebrating the start of your life as a couple and not celebrating the start of your life as a newly single person again, or the end of that, couple? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? It doesn't have to be. You can obviously grieve, and you should grieve for that. But when you're done grieving, I think it's time to celebrate the next chapter of your life.
Yeah. People always said to me, divorce is worse than a death. And I there was no way after I experienced, as you sadly know, the death of my mom, I just couldn't imagine anything being worse than that. And sure enough, it just was.
Because your mom didn't want to leave you. She didn't betray you. She died. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So the betrayal that you felt is, it's really hard.
He didn't just betray me. He went nuclear.
Right.
It was so many levels of, it wasn't just some chick you met in a club. Did I say chick? Sorry, ladies. It wasn't some woman he met in a club. It wasn't a one-nighter. And even that I wouldn't have tolerated. Right. Sorry. I just don't do that. But it was just at every level, and just I didn't even know who he was. And when you're reading texts like, "I wish I could do my life all over again." Me too. It's your heart just goes.
Devastating.
But through the support of my friends and just to watch, 40 people. It's not cheap to go to New Orleans, and but all these people to stop what they're doing and for a weekend, and we made such a fun weekend out of it because New Orleans is if you haven't been there, you gotta go. It's it's such a fun tourist spot, and I think after January 1st this past year with the terrorism and what happened in the French Quarter, New Orleans deserves that love. So let's bring it back to the Big Easy. And let's make, because I figured Nashville is the capital of bachelorettes, and Vegas is the capital of weddings. Well, let's make New Orleans the capital of divorce
and new beginnings. Divorce and new beginnings, because they have proven that they can start again after all the shit they've been through the last few decades.
Yeah.
So new beginnings, divorce and new beginnings. Yeah. You heard it here. New Orleans is the sponsor of our show, guys. Surprise.
Yeah.
So
Not
tell
Telegram.
everyone, we're going to have everything listed below. Tell everyone where they can find you, the name of your business, everything again.
You can find me at divorceparade.com. That's my business. And there's there's several packages which you can choose from, and there's also a custom package. Depending, I'll get you a llama if that's what you want. She will. I'll fly in Prince's dead body. It doesn't matter. I will do whatever we need to do. But yeah, I have packages. We were just discussing this. We have our first package, which is called Split Happens. The second package is called Oh No They Didn't, and then the third one is called Kiss My Assets. And so you can just reach out to me on the website, and then we'll have a consultation of what you're looking for, and then usually I would like a good 4-5 months heads up so you can gather all the people.
Get everyone ready to go.
I'm looking to do groups of 50 and under, but if you do have a bigger party, we can handle that and just get you going and celebrate it. So divorceparade.com.
Oh my God. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you.
And sharing your story.
Jodi.
I know it's really hard. It's something that, it's still raw. That word is always strange when I say that. But yeah, it's there, and it's painful, and I'm in awe of your strength.
Well, I appreciate you. I appreciate everybody, especially at work. It's like a family. And for you to know me as long as you have, and how, dating and then finding that person, and you embracing that person as like they're special to you as they were to me, like family. I couldn't have my strength. I couldn't be sitting here today like a fucking boss if it wasn't for inspirations like you and friends like you. And that's it. It's like I just want women and men and whatever you are to just know that you can move on. You can hold your head up, and you can celebrate your single, beautiful new life. Love will happen again.
It'll happen again. My name is Jodi Miller. I believe in love. That's Shawn Pelofsky. Don't call us ma'am. Catch you next time. Thanks for tuning in to Don't Call Me Ma'am. Don't forget to subscribe and like so you never miss an episode. See you next time.